Hey everyone, Sirturmund here again, and today we're bringing you some Annie Jhin gameplay. And the reason that I'm giving you Annie Jhin as another aggressive deck that you can play in this meta is because this deck is actually doing really well in this meta. If you don't believe me, let's go ahead and look at the stats. If you look at the stats here in Lore Master, at the moment of this recording, over the past 3 days, Annie Jhin, this deck list specifically, has 59% win rate over 1,000 games. Usually you never see a sample size this high with a win rate this high. That's what makes this deck very impressive, especially this list. It seems to actually be doing really well in the meta compared to every other deck out there. Like, again, just look at the fact that you have this many sample games and still having such a high win rate. So obviously, I'm a meta slave a lot of times, and I want to make sure that you're all set up to succeed. So I wanted to showcase some Annie Jhin because it has been a while since the last time we played Annie Jhin. Now, even though it has been a while, Annie Jhin hasn't really gotten any new tools that make the deck increasingly any better, right? It's still the same old Annie Jhin. In fact, this is literally the same stock list that has been going around for almost a whole year, where you're literally just playing a lot of skill units from all the different regions in combination with the Jhin Annie. So Annie lets you level up your Jhin, lets you put some damage there. Corsair, Saboteur, Rearguard, your 1-drops. You have the Lowkey, the Demolitionist, Sunhawk, Stagehand, and Tusk Speaker. These are all skill units. Especially access to the Sunhawk and the Stagehand allows you to kind of stun the opponent's blockings, allowing your units to actually get through for damage. And the Demolition is obviously pushing 2 damage, and the Tusk Speaker pushing 1, and it's been really nice. Then you have your Doom Beast. We have to play 40 cards, so that's why you enter with the 1 of Sentry, kind of playing the same role as the Stagehand and the Sunhawk. Doom Beast for more burn, Jhin for more burn, and then your Fervor and your Decimate for more burn. The list is literally the same as ever. You want to play as aggressive as you can, but you have to be mindful of your skills and the order in which you play your skills, right? Ideally, you want to have stuff like Annie level up, because access to the Tivers can be really good at slowing down the opponent just enough so that you can actually get the last lethal burn that you need to finish up the game. But I'm gonna stop rambling here. I want you all to see the games first, because I do kind of walk a lot more with this deck. I kind of explain my plays a bit more than other decks that I usually do. So I want you to just take a look at the games and kind of learn from me there on how to pilot this deck, and you can come back at the end of the video where I usually do a mulligan tips and kind of like a recap of some of the strategies that we saw in the games. So enjoy the games, and if you do, make sure to like the video below and subscribe to us. We post Elvira videos every single day. Enjoy. In this matchup, we're going against Heimerdinger Jayce Shadow Isles. Oh no! Wow. Well, this one is gonna be an interesting one. I actually like the idea of playing the Fervor. I don't think they play that. I don't think they play the 6-mana. I don't think they actually play the 6-mana spell anymore, right? Maybe I'm gonna get punished by taking the Fervor out. Okay, never mind. We get it right back anyways. What I'm thinking is that they don't play the... they could have a Thermal here, actually. This is a bad play, because this will be a Thermal. Yeah, it should have been the Rearguard every time. You always start with the Rearguard because of the Thermal option. Now, if the opponent plays Thermal, it does tap them out of... taps him out of the 6 mana in turn 3, so that would have been okay with me. Seems like he wasn't the Thermal, or if he was, they decided not to play it. We can go Lowkey, or we can go Corsair.
Just need a second.
I think I'm gonna go here. Okay, it was Production Surge, so it was Production Surge, and the opponent was trying to see if it was worth it to actually, I guess, block the Legion Saboteur. Interesting. I think I'm gonna just go... I like the Sunhawk. I like the Sunhawk a lot. He actually allows me to attack with the Corsair. So I like the Sunhawk a lot. Okay, the opponent has a Battle Feast. I feel like I would have preferred for them to use Battle Feast last turn than use it this turn, right? I'm so confused. I'm gonna take it easy. I'm gonna keep the Corsair back because we have the Jhin in our hand. We push the 1 damage. We can play the Jhin. We can play the Lowkey. We have options here. If the opponent has Jayce, that's a little bit more annoying, but not impossible to deal with. Okay. So we can Annie first, and then Lowkey after. Opponent has 5 mana, so they don't have enough for a Shock Blast. Nope, I think this is definitely worth the fervor because I don't want the opponent to have a blocker for the rearguard. So this is definitely worth a fervor unless... Okay, wow, that's their third Bile Feast. The problem is that the opponent does have access to the 6-mana spells next turn. So they could go like a Shock Blast and kill this too. And if they have the Shock Blast to kill this too, I think that's okay. Wow, the triple Bile Feast is very rough against us. Like, really, really rough. That's unfortunate. Do I attack with everything? We can trigger the Jhin skill, which will... Mystic too, huh? So I was thinking we can trigger the Jhin skill, but the fact that the opponent... I guess we still can, right? We still can. Which kills that Spiderling, allowing me to attack with everything, but like, man. The problem here is that I'm giving him both the Annie, and I'm also giving him the Jayce.
Step aside.
I'm giving him the Jhin, sorry. I'm giving him both the Annie and the Jhin. Opponent decided to just take... interesting. I feel like it was better for them to actually block the Annie with the Jayce and then pull to kill the Jhin. That way you kill both champions. Because if you don't have a weak... I guess you have the Shock Blast, right? This is telling me Shock Blast then, right? Not even a Shock Blast. I'm kind of confused now. I'm very confused. Very confused. You know what? I'm gonna go... Because if I go on the Annie... No, yeah, we just go on the Annie, right? Because Annie's gonna level up. I guess we get punished here by a Thermal. Annie's gonna level up and her skill actually stuns. Annie's gonna level up because you have to put the Bunkuroki first, right? So by putting the Bunkuroki first, it levels up the Annie. So that the Annie skill goes so that the Annie levels up before her skill. And now her skill is actually gonna be the 3 damage to the opponent. If the opponent blocks with the Heimer, then we can always just follow up with the Tivers to actually kill the Heimer. Yeah, so if they block like this, we can follow up to kill this Heimer. Actually, we can just wait for them to block, to put down their... Like, if they take exactly 2 damage with the Heimer, it means that it's gonna lose with the Tivers. So they already used triple Bile Feast, and they also had the second Mystic, and they had Obliterator. So we have to wait for the opponent to actually bring down their Florbegon. And the Florbegon, that's what we're going to target with the Tivers, killing both the Tivers and the Heimer. If the opponent doesn't play the Florbegon, I'm cool with that. I don't need to play this. Alright, there we go. Then we go here. This deals damage to all stun and damage enemies, so the Heimer goes with it. It is a little bit of a top deck war right now, right? Because we do have the Decimate, but we still need to find the 2 damage that we need, and we get it. So we find the 2 damage that we need. Means that the Decimate actually just finishes the game. Opponent already played triple Bile Feast, so I know for a fact that they don't have any more Bile Feast in their hands, so they shouldn't have a way to stop this. And there we go. Ended up kind of getting the perfect hand to survive their triple Bile Feast hand. But it was a little bit scary. I do still think that if the opponent actually blocked the Annie with the Jayce and then pulled the Jhin with the Jayce, they would have gotten both champions and it would have been better for them. Because look at that. My Tivers ended up getting the value of killing both their Heimer and their turret. So GG's. In this match, we're going against Akshan Varus. They do have a lot of early blockers, and obviously their blockers can get pretty big. We do have a really good hand, though. I want to see if I can find another 1-drop. Not another 1-drop, but we could go Rearguard, Saboteur, right? The Rearguard is really good because the opponent does have a lot of good blockers for it. The Demolitionist is also not bad. So we can go like this. Okay. If the opponent has the action... Okay, we definitely just go double 1-drop. I want to force him to have the Shapestone or Momentous Choice to save the action, right? So they could have the Shapestone or Momentous Choice to save it, but they're still taking 3, 5, 6, 7. Yep, and there you go. Momentous choice. With fighting equipment is not a bad thing to take away from them. The other option here, we do want to probably drop this Jhin. If the opponent goes for the equipment here, I might actually just Fervor. Okay. I'm gonna go for the Jhin first. I'm gonna keep my mana, because what I want to do, I want to have access to the Fervor so that I can trigger the Jhin skill when Jhin is on the field to stun one of the opponent's units. So let's say that the opponent has a way to kill this Jhin, or has like an action strike, so they can go jam into like the grappling hook, and then we can punish that by going for the Fervor, which kills one of the units and also stuns the other unit that they have on the field. So the idea here is that the action is going to die regardless, right? Because the action is going to die because of the Lotus Trap from Jhin. The Deadly Flourish. So the Lotus Trap is going to actually stun it, and then the Deadly Flourish is going to actually finish it. So that's exactly where we get the 3 mana, and then you go, opponent goes for the Desert Duel. Because they went for the Desert Duel, we can actually just go here. Or we can just, I guess because they yeah, because we have to go this way instead, because the weakest unit is actually a Cultist. So the Cultist is always going to be the one that gets stunned. The other option is that we can do it on the action, and that actually pushes more damage because it lets my Jhin go through.
I have prepared something very...
So we actually do it in the action because it lets both my units go through. I think it pushes more damage this way. Opponent shouldn't have a way to save this action. So the Cultist gets stunned. We get to attack with Jhin for 4 and another 3 here. That's going to be 7. Opponent goes down to 5, and then we have Demolitionist and Decimate to be able to get us there. I could have played the Demolitionist last turn, right? But again, because I saw that the Jhin was a 2 out of 3, it was always better to just keep that value of having the... It was always better to just keep that value of having the Fervor to trigger the Jhin skill once it was actually in the field. Opponent's already in Decimate range, but we don't even need to have the Decimate. We can just go Demolitionist, and be okay. They could have a second Varus and could pull the Jhin right here. I don't need to block. I absolutely don't need to block. Same thing again, right? We have 2 out of 3, so we just wait so that we can trigger the stun when Jhin is on the field, right? So this is the thing about having Jhin in your hand, that you can make it so that you can trigger the stun because Jhin is actually on the field. So it's not like when he's in your hand where he doesn't get to actually stun. So this way, we get rid of the opponent's blocker, which is pretty darn good for us. Now we have 2 options here. We could just play the second Demolitionist, so we could just play the Decimate. I am kind of scared of the opponent having... Okay, I guess we just go Demolitionist then. Yeah, we just go here, and that's game. That was an interesting castigate. It would have actually worked for them if I just didn't have a ton of burn in my hand, so GG's. In this matchup, we're going against Evelynn, Lucian, and then one of Galio. I always like keeping the Jhin in my hand. This double 1-drop star is pretty good as well. If we get a third 1-drop, that'd be even better. Otherwise, we could always start with the Sunhawk first, maybe. Let me slap down the rear guard, right? Let me slap down the rear guard first, because it's a unit that the opponent cannot really block. I do want to be able to start triggering my skills, though. Maybe the Solari Sunhawk is better. Oh, perfect. Solari Sunhawk is going to be better. Now, there is a punish here. If they have... Okay, perfect. That is not a punish. That is not the punish that we're looking for. Now, opponent could technically block the Corsair, but the only good block they have with the Corsair is going to be the Sculpture. I think it's fine. I think we just go like this. I think we keep the Corsair back. It is an extra damage each turn and lets us kind of level up our Jhin, right? So there's no reason to get greedy here, even if he's forcing the... Even if he's, you know... Because what I'm thinking is that if I tap with the Corsair, opponent's going to just block with their Sculpture now, right? Here, the opponent's actually not even going to block to begin with, so that's even better. So that's even better for us. let's see. You're gonna have a hard time here. Because if I go here...
When I allow you.
If I go Solaris Sunhawk, like next turn, opponent's gonna lose a blocker, which is gonna be the domination. I'm debating if I actually want to play the Doom Beast out, like it is right now. Just so that we have another unit to attack with. I know I'm losing the value from the skill, right? I'm absolutely losing the value from the skill, but the idea is to force the opponent to be able to have to block with all their units in order to not get in the range of the Decimate. Because what's going to happen here is that the Sunhawk is going to stop the domination from being a blocker, and then the opponent's going to be forced to block with Lucian for them to be able to survive. So we go here. We also deal a damage with Jhin. We have 4 with the Decimate. Have another 2 with the Doom Beast. That's going to be 6. Maybe playing the Doom Beast out like that was not correct, but I think it is actually better for me to go wider. We're going to get 2 more skill. Yeah, opponent gets the Evelynn. Yeah. So now here's the thing, right? They only have 2 blockers, 3 blockers with the Sculpture. Evelynn can block anything perfectly. I think we do actually attack with the Corsair this time. Because if the opponent's blocking the Corsair, that means they're not blocking my other 2 drops. So I'm pushing 4, 5, 6. Opponent goes down to 6. Yeah, so this is perfect. This is going to put them in range of lethal if they block the Corsair. Because then we can just do Decimate into Doom Beast, and that will be the 6 that we need. There we go. So yes, they get the favorable trade, but because of that, they even left the Saboteur alive. So that's actually going to be even... That's the last 2 set of damage that I need without even using the Doom Beast. The Saboteur and the Jhin is enough to win us the game.
That's it.
Huh. I guess the Saboteur is it was 2 damage, so that's why they decided to go for it that way. We can go Lowkey here and Doom Beast. And we don't have a threat of dying here. Opponent loses the Lucian, so the Lucian doesn't matter. You get overwhelmed. You get like big units here.
Don't waste my time.
But that's okay. I'm just gonna go Lowkey. I'm gonna go Doom Beast. I'm gonna open attack, and then still have the Decimate after. Sure. This is gonna be 3, and this is gonna be 3 on the open attack with the Lowkey and the Saboteur, and then we have 4 as a Decimate as a backup if the opponent has like a single combat here to quote unquote kill one of my units. There should be anything here that okay, Haste Spike, not a single combat, but the Haste Spike still does what it needs him to do. Unfortunately for the opponent, I do have access to the Decimate, so it doesn't really matter what they do or what they don't do, because they don't have a heal for sure. So all I need to do is just Decimate. Boom. Because they took that extra set of damage last time, right? If they had not blocked, I guess they still lose, right? Because we ended up drawing the second Doom Beast. If they had not... the moment that they didn't block the Saboteur, the game was over. So, GG's. In this match, we're gonna get the mirrors. So, Annie Jhin versus Annie Jhin. We got the 1-drop, we have another 1-drop, we have the Jhin. This is a pretty good hand. This is a very, very good hand. Especially if we get another 1-drop. If we get another 1-drop, this is gonna be pretty crazy. Unfortunately, we don't. Opponent could have Annie, and that could get them the advantage a little bit on the attack. I do have to be careful, because if the opponent has their own Sunhawk, it does kind of make our attack very awkward next turn, huh? Yeah, Sunhawk is the only like really good blocker that they will have that will make me very annoyed. The opponent kept 1 card. We could just go Tusk Speaker and Rearguard instead.
I have my orders.
There's a punish here, right? We can block the Saboteur and save ourselves 2 damage, but it means that we fall behind on the Jhin triggers. I think it's worth it though. I think it's worth it to trade. Since the opponent got the attack token on 1. If we get another 1-drop, we go rearguard plus the other 1-drop. If we don't, I think we just go Toss Speaker. It's a little bit awkward because obviously I'm hitting my own Nexus. So I'm kind of like advancing their own damage to the face. And again, the opponent gets 1 skill ahead of me, which is a little bit annoying. Yeah, we're just going to have to go Toss Speaker. Next turn, we can go Sunhawk into rearguard. And at least make their turn 3 attack awkward. Okay, opponent. So here we want to attack because the overwhelm means that we'll all be at the same HP, right? The overwhelm going through means that it's better for us if we attack here. And just trade. At the end of the day, we're both at 17 and it's turn 3, so that's the type of game that we have right here. I think our hand is a little bit more awkward than the opponent's hand. I don't even know if I agree with stunning this Annie. I'm gonna stun the Annie. I'm gonna stun the Annie anyways. Just because I need to have a blocker. Perfect, we have a blocker here anyways. Cool, cool, cool. We can actually go rear guard. I'm fine blocking here because that's taking 0 damage. Now the opponent could have their own stun to stop the Jhin. The other option is that we could just attack. And I think I actually prefer the attack. I'm gonna tell you why I prefer the attack. I prefer the attack because we can play Jhin here.
Of course I'm ready.
And then next turn we can go Toss Speaker, which is gonna trigger the Jhin skill, which is gonna actually cause the stun. So if the opponent doesn't open here, we'll be able to actually stun 2 of their units, even with the stage hand if we need to. Yeah. So we get to stun the Annie here. So the Annie doesn't get to attack and we give ourselves a good blocker here. Because of the Jhin skill, we can actually slow them down. The Lotus Trap.
I will allow for no mistake.
We can block. I'm not even gonna block the rear guard, by the way. I'm just gonna take it like this. I'm taking more damage, but I think if I just open attack next turn, I just win the game because I have Decimate plus Fervor. Opponent's gonna go for their Fervor here to kill our Jhin. We could go Fervor to kill the rear guard, but then that's gonna leave the Bunkuroki alive because the Fervor's gonna die. The other option is that we just Fervor to kill their Corsair. Keep our Jhin alive. I think keeping our Jhin alive is worth it. I need to be careful about that Annie though. I need to be careful about that Annie. I wonder if I should try to kill the Annie. I wonder if that's correct. I wonder if killing the Annie is correct, because we can kill the Annie by stunning her, and then when the skill from the Jhin, not the dancing grenade. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. Deadly Flourish. Deadly Flourish will deal 2 to all stun enemies. So as long as the opponent doesn't level up this Annie right here, we can actually stun and kill her with Jhin. I guess opponent can have a second Fervor. But if they have the second Fervor, I think we just win, right? Because that means you're losing your unit anyways, and then we just stage hand.
You lack imagination.
The ideal scenario here is that we can stun the Annie and kill her with Jhin before she can level up. If the opponent has the 2 skills to level her up right now, or has the way to kill my Jhin, then that's a little bit scary. Okay, they actually are gonna Fervor. Alright, if that's the case, I'm gonna still go ahead and do the stage hand here.
If we seek forgiveness,
This is actually not lethal if the opponent has another blocker. So if the opponent has another blocker, they actually stay alive. But they have to block the stage hand. 3, 4, 5, 6. They will be a 5. So if they manage to block the stage hand, they will be a 5. And that's 2 Fervors out of the way for them. And then it's gonna be a top deck war. But then the Bunkuroki for us doesn't die. So because the Bunkuroki stays alive, we can do the last 2 damage that we need on our next attack and just win the game, right? So they need to have another unit here, first of all. They have another Fervor. Wow. So they just had all 3 Fervor. The problem for the opponent is because they Fervor the Tough Speaker instead of Fervoring the Bunkuroki, we have just enough to put them into Decimate range, right? Yep, exactly enough to put them into Decimate range. I understand why they went for the Tough Speaker, because it's a blocker. It's a blocker against their Tigers, right? They wanted to get rid of the Fearsome blocker. But you can do that by just, you know, playing the Tigers and stunning that 3-2. It will have stunned it and killed it. You put yourself in range of the Decimate for no reason. So we play the Decimate. I think that gameplay where we just open attack and play Jhin after really did win us again. Being able to stun that Annie because the opponent decided not to open attack made all the difference. So GG's. In this matchup, we're gonna get Sundays. This should be one of my better matchups. Aggro tends to do very well against this Shurima piles. To be fair though, I mean they could have access to. There's a few things that they could have access to, right? So I need to be a little bit careful. Rite of Negation, I mean not Rite of Arcane. The 3-drop is very good at kind of slowing me down as well. The Rockbear Shepherd. I think I like Annie into Bunkuroki on turn 2. Tough Speaker is not bad either, but I mean, the Bunkuroki is fine because the opponent at most is going to have the Rock Hopper, right? They shouldn't have a way to deal with this Bunkuroki. This plays around... No, I think I do like the Bunkuroki better. Yeah, I like the Bunkuroki better. It might die to the Rock Hopper, but I think that's okay. Okay, if we get another 1-drop, then we go Rearguard instead, right? If we get another 1-drop, then we absolutely go Rearguard instead. So, it's gonna all depend on our top deck. Alright, so like I said, the opponent's gonna have access to... I guess if they have access to the Rock Hopper, it's actually better to go Tough Speaker, right? I'm just missing out on a trigger. I want to keep the second Tough Speaker for my next... No, it's not gonna work, right? I can have Jhin on the field my next turn. Let's go Tough Speaker. If the opponent has a Rock Hopper, I still get to push the overwhelm damage, so I still get to do 2 more damage here, which is better than the Bunkuroki, only didn't... I mean, it's still the same amount, but... Yeah, there we go, Rock Hopper. Yeah, I guess it would have been the same amount anyways, huh? It would have literally been the same amount. But I do kind of just like getting the overwhelm through. Getting the overwhelm through now is better anyways, because the opponent is easily going to have a 3-cost, 3 health power unit here. We can go the Rearguard to eat up the Rolling Sands, because he can beat everything that the opponent summons. Yeah, so we go here. There we go, Bunkuroki. Like you feel free to grab this if you want to. I'm okay with them grabbing the Rearguard. I am getting punished by a Rider of our... Yeah, they don't go for it. I'm getting punished by a Rider of Arcane. I think I'm just gonna go Sunhawk into Tough Speaker next turn. You have to drag it. Yeah, you always have to drag it. I think you always have to drag this. Because if you had a Rider of Arcane, that would have been the best target to do the Rider of Arcane on. Now we just go Sunhawk into Tough Speaker. And he's about to level up. You lose your blocker. Now if you have the Rider Negation, you have to do a nab for mana instead of destroying your landmark. And you still keep our attacker alive, which means that we get to push 3 damage with the Rearguard. They had to pull it. You want to have that landmark. I don't know what's the purpose of keeping the... I guess you're trying to disincentivize the attack by the Annie, but you have to just do it at that point. Here we can go Tough Speaker. Annie's going to level up when we do the Bunkuroki first, allowing us to actually get put, like, do the level up Annie ability. Cool. They have to block, so like they won't be able, like, it doesn't matter what they do now, right? With 2 mana, there's nothing that they do. The order here matters, by the way. If we put Annie on the left, then Annie levels up with her own skill. If we put the Bonkuroki on the left, then the Bunkuroki levels up Annie, and then the Annie skill becomes the level 2 skill. So when you're that close to leveling up Annie, always put your skill units on the left and Annie on the right, so that you make sure that you level up Annie, because now as you see here, we get the leveled up Molten Shield instead of the level 1 version of the Molten Shield. We also get to trigger the Lotus Trap. Opponent's gonna even block the Annie, which doesn't make sense because Annie stuns the blocker. So again, you have to just block one of the other guys, but that's lethal if you do, because Annie's pushing 1. So that's game anyways, right? It doesn't matter what you do. The moment that you kept this alive and didn't pull it, you lost the game. Because your only out here was gonna be right about Kane to kill like an Annie and get that blocker, right? Additionally, if they had actually sacrificed a unit, my Sunhawk wouldn't have had anything to stun. So it wouldn't have been the play that we were able to do this turn. We were able to play the Sunhawk and stun their unit. So a little oopsie there by the opponent, but you know, that's a learning experience for them. So GG's. In this match, we're going against Senna, Nasus, Kindred. So this is a Casticate deck. And they're also going to have answers to... They're going to have Haste Spike, they're going to have Battle Feast. So they are going to have a lot of answers to our aggression. Now, we have the Jhin in our hand, which is not bad. Double Jhin is a little bit more awkward than having one Jhin, so... We're just going to go here. Ooh, interesting. I guess you saved the 2 damage, so I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it. Okay, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't want to lose to a Haste Spike. So I'm just gonna go Sunhawk here, get rid of their blocker. I have access to Fervor if I need to. Sentry, okay, so if since the opponent went for Sentry, we have 2 options. We can go for the Saboteur or we can go for the Rear Guard. I guess we have the Jhin. My concern about the Rear Guard, let's say that the opponent has a Battle Feast. No, let's just drop down the second Saboteur. Let's force him to have it. This lets me trigger the Jhin. Jhin goes to 1 out of 3 already. We trade. Cool. We can play the Jhin next turn. I am concerned if the opponent has the 1 of Kindred, it might actually be better to play the Fervor on the Kindred instead of playing the Jhin out. So it's gonna depend on whatever the opponent has, especially now that we have this, yeah. So since the opponent has the Kindred, I'm gonna actually keep the mana for the Fervor so that we can actually Fervor and keep our unit alive and keep our board as high as we can. Now remember, Casticate is 7 mana, right? So we do want to make sure that we don't lose to that Casticate. Now, the unit that's gonna die is gonna be this girl right here. Yeah, we want to make sure that we don't get hit by that Casticate. So let's just go ahead and slap it like this. Yeah, this card is the one that's gonna die. Opponent goes down to 6. We have Fervor for face. We have the Jhin. We can actually use the Jhin to hit the Kindred this turn, by the way. So we can actually kill the Kindred if the opponent's not careful. They could Vengeance this right now, I guess. They have to Vengeance this right now. Okay, so now you have to have the answer for this Dancing Grenade. Just like that, we keep the Corsair alive. I don't think this Corsair is very long for this world anyways because of the Casticate. Opponent's gonna get Senna. So they get the... they will get the Darkness, right? If they play the Senna though, I mean, it's gonna die to the second bounce. So they actually cannot even play her. I'm gonna just go ahead and play the second bounce now. Get rid of their blocker. We have to use it anyways. Oh, I'm pretty sure that the opponent has the Casticate. All I need to do is just play around it. Crumble. Okay, so if we go Fervor and the opponent has Casticate, They can play Senna here and then fast speed have Castigate, but it's not gonna matter because this is gonna deal 4 and this is gonna do the last. Yeah, we have lethal here, right? If the opponent actually plays the Senna, we have lethal because of the Demolitionist.
Through my work, you shall transcend.
We got to even see the gen level up. So my opponent is probably thinking, hey, I can play Senna here and I can have the fast speed Castigate, but they're losing to 2 things. They're losing to the skills here and they're also losing to the Demolitionist. So let's just go ahead and slam the Demolitionist now.
They'll burn.
Before they have access to any unit that can do a haste spike or something. And there we go. GG's. That was a pretty nasty hand from us that allowed us to stabilize, especially with the opponent blocking with it. And that's the game that takes us to Diamond 1 in our European Smurfs. So GG's. Hey, welcome back everybody. Hope you enjoyed today's games. I love playing Jhin Annie because even though it's an aggro deck, it does take some thinking, right? You saw us there kind of putting some of those strategies to the test. We did get Jhin a lot of our games, and when you get Jhin, the games tend to go a lot smoother. But even when you have Jhin, unlike other aggro decks where you're just slamming units in the field and just attacking, you have to be strategic of when you play Jhin, when you can take advantage of the fact that the Lotus Traps, not only does it do 1 to the Nasus, but it can also stun the opponent's unit if your Jhin is in the field. You saw that in that one game where instead of playing anything on turn 3, we decided to save our mana so that on turn 4 we can play the Jhin and have the Fervor as a backup to trigger the Jhin stun and be able to actually remove the opponent's blocker. So that's one thing you have to think about. The other thing you have to think about with this deck, as you saw in multiple of our games, is the ordering of Annie. If Annie is like a 4 out of 5, a 4 out of 6, or a 5 out of 6, and you do have enough other skill units that can level her up, then you want to have Annie all the way to the right. By having her all the way to the right of your attack order, it means that your left units are triggering the skills, which is then going to allow your Annie to level up before she actually uses her Molten Shield. So that way you actually get the level 2 Molten Shield instead of the level 1 shield in the stack as you attack. So that is another thing you're going to have to keep in mind, of course. Aside from that, though, I mean, everything else is pretty straightforward. You do have a lot of skills. You just have a lot of burn as well, so just kind of take advantage of that and keep track of what the opponent might have in their hand. In terms of mulligan, I absolutely love the 1-drops, but I do also like keeping at least 1 Jhin. So I think Jhin, the damage from Lotus Trap can add up a lot, so I like keeping 1 Jhin, and obviously after that I'm looking for Annie, Rearguard, Saboteur, a little bit over the Corsair. I think Annie, Rearguard, and Saboteur are slightly better than the Corsair. If you already have enough 1-drops, then that's where you can start to look to keep stuff like Bunkuroki and Tusk Speaker. The stun units, you can kind of wait to draw them because it can be better once the opponent actually develops a board. That way you don't get stuck with a 2-drop that you can't play in turn 2 because the opponent has nothing on the board for you to stun. So you're just gonna keep that in mind when you're deciding which stun units to keep. But ideally, again, you want to look for your 1-drops, your Bunkuroki, your Tusk Speaker, and your Jhin, and kind of start from there. You want to get a lot of your other burn cards like Demolitionist, Decimate, Fervor later in the game, as same thing as your Doom Beast and your stun, so that you actually are able to trigger those more efficiently as the game goes on. I think I kind of went through everything there is to know about this deck. Your stuns are your best friends, right? This is an aggro deck, and we didn't see that. I guess we did see this, right? We did see this in a couple of our games where we didn't see the stage and kind of put a lot of work in there, but we did see like the Sanha putting a lot of work. Being able to remove the opponent's blocker is what this deck does to shine and actually push damage through. So just keep that in the back of your mind of, hey, I can stun their blockers and actually let my units go through so that we can actually present lethal to them. That'll be it for me today. Hope you enjoyed today's games. Again, this deck has a ridiculous win rate, so I recommend you try it out. If you do, let me know how you do with it, and maybe you can climb, right? You saw us here climbing all the way to Diamond 1 in our Smurf, so it's a great deck. If you like today's content, make sure to like the video below and subscribe to us. We post a lot of videos every single day. You can also find us on Twitch at Sirturmund. We stream every now and then, and you can also find us on Discord and Twitter. The links to those are both in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again tomorrow.